DCT stands for Dynamic Creative Test. And if you get this right, you're going to be able to scale your ads. And if you get it wrong, you're going to waste a lot of time and money. Today, I'm going to be answering your questions about Facebook ads, and we're getting started right now.
We're running your single campaign 3-2-2 DCT strategy, and we're not that much. We're spending like $45 a day.
Sure.
I'm just wondering how many ad sets at the campaign level, and I'm just wondering how many ad sets this kind of spend can support, and if we scale up spend to support more ad sets, or are we only thinking like we want to keep it within 3 to 5 ad sets always, or something like that?
That's a great question, and one that I get constantly. And for those of you that don't know, single campaign, this means when running one campaign per business objective. If the business objective is to sell this offer, have one campaign for that offer so that you're not having multiple efforts competing against each other where you're not able to take actionable insight from the data. The 3-2-2 DCT strategy means 3 dynamic creatives, 2 primary text, and 2 headlines. This is the simplest version of a dynamic creative that also allows you to take creative testing insight, but maximizes the volume of data that goes to each individual iteration of the options of the elements in that ad. So your question was, at $45 a day, how many should I have? I'll say this. There's not necessarily an inherent limit to how many ads that you can run. In general, the more moving parts you have, the less stable and the lower the actionability of the data is. I have a golden rule. If I'm running a test and it doesn't help me make an informed decision, that test is a waste of time and money. The more pieces you have, the harder it is to understand if something is good or bad. More importantly, and to answer your question more directly, I generally don't run more than 3 ad sets in a campaign, even if that's 1 ad set that has my best post IDs and a couple dynamic creatives. Because my focus isn't necessarily to find the best winning ads. There is this misnomer that, well, all I need is more ads and I'll get more results, better results. Well, the more ads you have, the greater the instability, actually, the harder it is to be successful. The only reason that people are leveraging more ads as a win is because when you are setting up cost caps in Advantage Plus, you are also setting up a depreciating flywheel. Basically, your ads are going to get worse faster and faster because you are forcing bad experiences onto people. And the only way to overcome that is by volume of creative. And what happens is everybody says, well, what we did is we leaned in more creatives. The only way to outpace a depreciating flywheel is to do more work. And that is ultimately a path of very bad results. And ultimately what happens is the people that come to your store look more and more different. That's not good. So what I like to do is say, can I get, in a perfect world, I've got 1 ad set that's got a couple of proven post IDs that are informed, where I know according to a 4PI analysis, 4PI being spend, frequency, CPM, and efficiency, I know basically where they sit in the funnel. They're top of funnel, mid funnel, bottom funnel ads. That portfolio is more or less stable. I know what the output is going to be. The purpose of the dynamic creative tests at that point are then to see if I can beat any of the elements in that portfolio. If I've got a few ads that are all sitting top of funnel and doing very well, but I have an efficiency problem, my overall blended omni-channel CPA is too high, well, then I probably want to launch 2 dynamic creative tests. They're going to sit lower in the funnel or improve my efficiency. Now, if I've got 5 of them, especially with the lower spend, odds of me being able to understand what's good and bad go way down. And ultimately, spend and complexity and time are the 3 variables that you have. If you want to spend a little bit of money and be very complex, understand that's going to take a tremendous amount of time. If you want to be very complex and do it in a short time, it's going to cost you a fortune. Also, the more elements you have, the less actionable the results are because the delivery is more random. And by the time you get to 4, 5, 6 ad sets in any campaign, the delivery is almost completely random around which ads get spent and which ones don't. And so your actionability of that data is almost negligible. So that's a very long-winded way of me trying to answer the question in whole. And I don't think the 45 days is too small or too high a budget to do anything. Budget itself is not a constraint. I think that what is the constraint is ultimately, again, your time and your actionability of the data. So at $45 a day across 5 ad sets, I would say that it's probably going to be almost impossible for you to see what works and what doesn't, and will take you a long time to hit consistency. If you were to move in with smaller moving pieces, you're going to at least know how those things perform faster, which ultimately means you're going to know what you need to improve on faster. And it's not as everybody has this misnomer of trying to find the winning ad. It's not about trying to find the winning ad. It's about what is the weakest link in my chain and how do I make it stronger so that ultimately the most important question of all, can I spend more money? The answer to that is yes. But the last thing we'll have to remember is that Facebook sits at the top of the funnel. Then there is email and organic and search and all sorts of stuff that ultimately ends in a transaction. And that transaction is the beginning of a customer journey. Your money is made at the second, third, fourth, fifth transaction in that customer journey. Trying to optimize the top of the funnel for maximum profit generally means the ability to make this money is damn near impossible. So make this as stable as you can and then improve your business model and operations everywhere else. And then you'll be able to know, do I need more of a certain type of person? Do I need my ads to sit in a different part of the funnel? And then you can be very laser focused on the creative testing that you're doing to solve that one specific problem. Instead of just saying, how do I find the winning ad? How do I find the winning ad? How do I find the winning ad? Which almost always ends up being an ad with a higher CPM and a better CPA and a higher frequency because they all index bottom funnel. And then you say, well, I'm trying to scale my budget and it doesn't work. And it's because you're basically trying to scale a bottom of funnel effort with no ability to amplify the size of the funnel to begin with. So that's a very long-winded answer, but hopefully a complete one for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. By the way, if anybody else has questions, go ahead and load them in the chat. But Chance has got 2 more, so until people load them up, Chance, let's just keep going.
Yeah, I'll go. So going off that first one, then how long should we wait to like kill an ad set if Facebook's deciding not to spend too much on it or if it's spending very little on it? When do we know like, all right, this thing?
Yeah, and that's a great question. And again, one that I get asked a lot. How do I know when the ad is bad? Well, are you able to increase your budget? Is your omni-channel efficiency good? I can't tell you how many times I see a bad ad with a terrible CPA. It's getting like 40% of the spend. We turn it off. Results look great for 3-4 days, and then they tank. Because that ad, while it on Facebook had, according to attribution, a negative CPA or ROAS, God help if you're using that metric, what it's doing is it's filling the funnel. And it's helping you amplify the business. Oh, there we go. That. So instead, what we want is to have an ad account simple enough so that we can know, hey, this ad set is getting more or less spend. And as that ad set in this case gets more budget, what happens to my blended CPA across my business? If this ad getting more budget makes my blended CPA improve, that ad is good. If my blended CPA gets worse because this ad gets more budget, then that ad is bad. But be fully aware that that ad might look terrible according to the attribution on Facebook, but what it's doing is it's doubling your email and search revenue. I'm working with a brand right now in my brand accelerator program, and they're trying to hit a blended CPA of $40. Their Amazon is coming in the high teens, and their Facebook is coming in at 130. He was struggling to get his Facebook down to 40. Instead, we doubled the budget at 130. Got it. The CPA went to like 150, 170. But we saw a massive incremental lift on Amazon, and his blended CPA last month, we've doubled every month for the last 90 days. And his blended CPA went from a 32 to a 28, and now I think it's at like a 35. 40 is his target. We still are not spending enough, and that's 5% increase of the budget Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and that's doubling his budget. every single month. So the first part of that is just to understand the only way you know if the ad is good or bad is, does it earn more budget? And if so, do my results lessen or get worse? And if you can't answer that question, then you can't know if the ad is good or bad. And it has nothing to do with the attributed revenue or performance efficiency of that ad itself. That has nothing to do with the bottom line. In fact, overwhelmingly, when people chase really good CPAs on Facebook, their blended CPAs suffer because they're effectively getting duplicitous attribution from Facebook and email and Google and TikTok and Amazon, whatever. Well, maybe not Amazon, but the point is, like, if all of your ads are chasing better and better CPAs, what you're not doing is growing the funnel in the business. And I've seen people get their ROAS so high, they went out of business. And so long and short answer is, make it simple enough that you can say, this ad is doing good. Now, to the other point of that, if your ad isn't getting any spend, but your blended CPA, let's use this example, targets a 40, and you're coming in at 35, you don't have a problem. And the worst thing you could do when you don't have a problem is start fixing things. The only question you need to really answer is, can I spend more? And if you can't spend more, you should have known that a couple of days beforehand, looking at week over week, month over month trends. And if you do not have the ability to do that, that is because your system is too complex. And if it's too complex to make informed decisions on how to grow the business, I don't care what your performance is, because when it goes bad, and it will, you won't have any idea how to fix it. And then you're just waiting to basically get wrecked. And I would highly recommend not waiting, but being actionable in your data. Does that help? I know that's not necessarily a direct answer, but the point is that I think the premise of the question needs to be challenged a little bit.
Yeah, that helps. And it makes sense to, I guess you're kind of advocating for a more holistic look at like all of your revenue sources and all of, your marketing channels.
Yeah. I mean, remember that Facebook sits at the top of your marketing funnel. So the efficacy of the top of your marketing funnel is about the net output of your business efficiency. It is not how good am I at the top of the funnel. It's like, you want your top of the funnel to be super profitable, but have 1/3 of the traffic coming through that's way more profitable? That doesn't make sense. So yeah, it is, you are running a business. Facebook ads amplify a business model. And so if you want to make more money, find the thing that makes your profitability something you can scale into. Yeah. So take a holistic business approach at trying to grow your business. Otherwise, you're a performance marketer waiting to get fired, because somebody else will do the same amount of work or more for cheaper. And I always say this, a media buyer's job is simple. Like, you can be a chef at Pizza Hut in about 2 weeks. I think you can be a world-class media buyer in about 2 weeks. It's what you do with that information that actually matters.
So now we know how many DCTs to run, but the honest truth is, if you don't get your offers right, you're not going to be making nearly as much money as you deserve. So I made this video right here to help you understand how to improve your LTV, how to improve your AOV, and how to reduce your CAC. Because the honest truth is, you deserve more success and less stress. So I'll see you over there.